Hi everyone, welcome to the Maye Center. My name is Laura Song. I'm the Executive Director of this center. This is a trauma healing center that uses meditation, organic gardening, yoga, and education. And we're so happy to have Common Cause here working with the Equity for Cambodians. And I'm going to give the floor to Sylvia and Charles. Please come up.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Laura just introduced you to the Maye Center. The Maye Center is not only the place, the only place, the birthplace of the movement of the redistricting. And it's important that we have Common Cause work alongside with the office of the mayor and office of the councilman Al Austin and many others in this city. Now, since Councilman Al Austin has another function to go at this time, we'd like to invite him to come forward to share with us a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Al Austin.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I just want to be brief. I got an invitation to come here today, and I could not pass that up. Didn't have a whole lot on my calendar, but I do have a function in Los Angeles that I committed to my wife to attend this morning as well. But I wanted to just let you know, this redistricting item, this particular issue in terms of changing our charter to engage and empower residents is something that's been very important to me. I first brought this issue up back in 2015. The council gave some due consideration to it and referred it to a committee where it's kind of been since I think this coalition came and gave it the shot in the arm that it needs to have the full attention of the council. But we really appreciate, and I want to extend my appreciation to everybody in this room who has been involved in the process, right? Supportive, but involved in the process. I know our first public hearing was not the best. Some people had concerns with details, and I think the mayor's office, my staff has kind of worked with the community and Common Cause to come up with, I think, a charter amendment that is going to be not only acceptable but effective and I think popular with the voters. This is about restoring power, empowering voters, restoring public confidence in local government, but also getting balance and understanding the true communities of interest. I understand the Cambodian community for many years. Some of you guys remember I was a candidate for the 6th District in 2007. I learned then how important the redistricting process was to this community, and I never forgot that, right? I made several promises as a candidate, and I think I've delivered as a city council member, even though I don't necessarily represent the Cambodian town community. I understand the importance of having a voice at the table, right? Having a voice at the table is very important in one way or another, and so hopefully this redistricting process will give folks the confidence they need to know that they will have a voice at the table. That the process will be transparent, will be fair, and that there will be robust community involvement. It won't be a politically driven process that it has been in the past. And I think today, thanks to the work of Common Cause and many others, we're getting a lot smarter. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Congressman Lowenthal for his work when he was in the state legislature to help draft the citizens redistricting process for the state of California. Kind of took the politics out of California and got that process, and I think we have a better system because of it. But again, I just want to thank you all. I would hope to see you all Tuesday at City Council for the final hearing to make sure that this gets across the hump there and that we can get this issue on the ballot, and then I look forward to hopefully working with you all, throughout the process over the next several weeks to have this conversation with the rest of the city of Long Beach about the importance of this redistricting item that we're championing. That I think will bring, like I said, fairness, greater accountability, greater transparency to the process, and the whole intent here is this is a good government item that will inspire public confidence in the process. That's what we're trying to achieve here, and I want to thank you all for your support and help get us here thus far. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I turn it on as promised. Our agenda today will be as follows. We will recognize many of you who are here this morning. And item 3, we will go over the overview of the meeting format. Number 4, overviewing the Redistricting California. And that's going to be presented by Mr. Dan Vicuna. Item 5, history of redistricting in Long Beach. That's about 20 minutes by Dr. Mark Coleman and Dr. Alex Norman. And then we'll open up item 6 with the Q&A. Item 7, overview the city draft independent redistricting commission proposal. That again by Mr. Dan Vicuna. And item 8, discuss of the draft proposal that open up with a whole lot of issues that will take about 45 minutes. And then we'll make announcement at the end. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome from the Common Cause, Silver Moore.
I'll just be brief. My name is Sylvia Moore. I am Southern California organizer for California Common Cause. For those of you who don't know who we are a good government group. We've been around for more than 40 years. We're a national nonpartisan organization. Our headquarters is in Washington, D.C. Our California Common Cause is based in downtown Los Angeles, and we have offices in Sacramento and organizers in the Northern California and San Diego area, as well as Los Angeles. So we're all about giving voice to the people. We want to have everyone's voice count. That's our message. We want to hold power accountable. That's our other message. And so I just want to thank the Maye Center here for hosting this event and really appreciate the Cambodian town community. We want to hear what you have to say about this proposal, and that's why we're holding this meeting. And so, overview of the meeting format. So basically, we want this to be more of a back and forth. So when the presentations happen, there's going to be about 20 minutes each. We'd like for you to ask questions. If there's something that you need clarity on or something you don't understand, please stop and ask questions. This meeting is for you. We want to know what you think about the proposal and how, if there are improvements that you think would best serve the community. So with that, I'm going to introduce my colleague Dan Vicuna, who is our National Redistricting Manager for Common Cause, and he's going to give you an overview of the history of redistricting in California. So Dan, take it away.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us for this important topic. Really appreciate it. My name is Dan Vicuna. I'm National Redistricting Manager at Common Cause. I work on our reform efforts around the country. And I'm here to give sort of a background overview of redistricting as an issue generally around the country and in California specifically, and the project that we're working on in cities. So what is redistricting? I used to call redistricting the most important issue that nobody's ever heard of. That's changing. Increasingly, so redistricting is a process that happens every 10 years after the census, where we redraw legislative districts at every level of government. The purpose of this is to ensure equal population at every level of government for communities of equal size. And it's also to ensure that communities have fair representation at every level of government, from the U.S. House, state legislatures, city council, what we're talking about today. There was a time in this country where legislatures, afraid of the growing power of cities, refused to redraw districts. They would go decades without doing so. In 1964, there were two important U.S. Supreme Court cases that made sure that required state legislatures to change that and ensure that at every level of government, districts must be redrawn to give equal power to communities of equal size. So redistricting is a very important process. Unfortunately, at all levels of government, in most states, in most cities, elected officials themselves redraw their own districts or congressional maps that they may want to run in someday.
លោកមានឈ្មោះ Dan Puna តំណាងឲ្យអង្គការ Common Cause អ្នកស្រីនេះគឺយ៉ាងមក Common Cause ដែលសម្រាប់ទីក្នុងស្បូននៃរដ្ឋ Virginia អង្គការ Common Cause នេះគឺតំណាងឲ្យមតិប្រជាពលរដ្ឋអាមេរិកភាគច្រើនហើយទីស្នាក់ការរបស់រដ្ឋនៅ Washington DC គឺសម្រាប់ជួយសម្រួលកិច្ចការសង្គមដែលអ្នកស្រុកខ្លះគេមានការមិនយល់ស្របហើយសំខាន់បំផុតគឺអង្គការ Common Cause នោះយកទៅដាក់ពីរឿងមួយគេហៅថា Redistricting ឬមួយជាមួយគេហៅ Gerrymandering អានេះគេធ្វើ10ឆ្នាំម្ដង10ឆ្នាំគេហៅថាគេធ្វើស្ថិតិចំនួនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋគេថា the US Census head count រាប់ចំនួនមនុស្សពលរដ្ឋទាំងអស់ហើយបន្ទាប់ពីរាប់ពលរដ្ឋមកគេចង់ដឹងថាទីក្រុងណាឬប៉ុណ្ណាតើចំនួនអ្នកដែលតំណាងគេគេថា US House of Representatives US House of Senate គេថាសមាជិកព្រឹទ្ធសភាសមាជិកតំណាងរាស្ត្រតាំងពី Federal ដល់ Local តាំងពី Washington DC រហូតដល់ Long Beach ខ្ញុំឧទាហរណ៍គេថាពី City Council School District Board Director រហូតដល់លើតើគេចែកចំនួនទៅតាមចំនួនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋទៅតាមតែនៃសន្តាននៃពលរដ្ឋនឹងតើគឺមានស្បែកខ្មៅច្រើនស្បែកសច្រើនឬមិនហើយអ្នកតំណាងគេគឺទៅតាមពីរាជនេះឬទៅតាមតែនឹងហៅថា Redistricting 10ឆ្នាំម្ដងគេថាពីគូខណ្ឌទីពីមុនមកគឺ 1964 ដែលចាប់ដើមធ្វើហ្នឹងការគូខណ្ឌទីហ្នឹងគឺគេធ្វើរយៈកិច្ចឲ្យអភិបាលក្រុងឬអភិបាលខេត្តអ្នកណាដែលកាន់កាប់អំណាចជាផ្សេងតែពីលើមកហ្នឹងខ្ញុំបន្ថែមលើគាត់ពីចាប់ព្រោះទីយកហ្នឹងគឺថាគេឲ្យអ្នកណាដែលជាអ្នកអភិបាលខេត្តគូមកក្រមមកដល់សភាក្រុងក៏ចឹងទៅការគូខណ្ឌទីម្នាក់ចង់បានប្រយោជន៍តខ្លួនសាច់ជ្រូក3ជាន់មានស្បែកមានខ្លាញ់មានសាច់ក្រហមទីគូយកតែសាច់ក្រហមបានន័យថាបើសិនជាសភាក្រុងហ្នឹងជា Democrat ជា Republican គូខណ្ឌទីហ្នឹងគូយកតែប្រជាពលរដ្ឋណា Democrat គាត់ដាក់ឈ្មោះជាប់បដ ហើយអ្នកដែលថា Republican មិនជាប់ vice versa បើអ្នកនឹងជា Governor Republican ឲ្យគូ Redistricting ឬចឹងគូគ្មានយកតែ Republican មកជាប់ក្រោយមកនេះថ្មីហើយជា4ឆ្នាំចុងក្រោយនេះគឺប្រជាពលរដ្ឋគេអត់សប្បាយចិត្តដោយសារមានភាពអយុត្តិធម៌នៅក្នុងការបោះឆ្នោតពីព្រោះអ្នកដែលតំណាងឲ្យយើងចាប់តាំងពី Senator រហូតដល់ Local City Council ចៅសង្កាត់ហ្នឹងគឺថាភាគច្រើនបពុនិយមគេថាវាអត់យុត្តិធម៌អញ្ចឹងបានគេប្រគល់ឲ្យទៅអង្គការមួយ Common Cause សម្រាប់ជួយសម្រួលហ្នឹងហើយទៅគេហៅថា Independent Commission គេថាឲ្យនឹងអាការគេថាមិនមែនអ្នកនយោបាយគូបែបទីខ្លួនឯងទេគឺថាត្រូវឲ្យប្រជារាស្ត្រហ្នឹងគេជ្រើសតាំងមនុស្សលេខតំណាងគេហើយបោះឆ្នោតនៅណាមួយទៅអង្គុយនៅក្នុងបោះឆ្នោតដូចនៅព្រឹទ្ធសភាអញ្ចឹងតើផែនទីពួកនេះគួរឲ្យសមថាក្នុងនេះមានខ្មែរច្រើនហើយផែនទីហ្នឹងគួរឲ្យមានខ្មែរក្នុងមានម្ដុំកាលហ្នឹងមានជនជាតិស្បែកខ្មៅច្រើនទេមិនមែនថាស្បែកខ្មៅសឹងតែគាត់ទៅស្បែកសទៅចិត្តអត់ត្រូវអាហ្នឹងហើយថា Common Cause ឲ្យមានប្រយោជន៍ច្រើនហើយមានបទពិសនាច្រើនណាស់ដែលយើងបានធ្វើនៅទីនេះដោយសារមានអ្នករដ្ឋការអាមេរិកនៅនេះគេបានមកជួយទី1លោក US Congressman Alan Lowenthal គាត់ជា former city council នៅ Long Beach ទៅ State Assembly ទៅ State Senator ហើយគាត់យកការចេះដឹងរបស់គាត់ connection របស់គាត់មកជួយយើងវិញគាត់ជួយយ៉ាងហ្នឹងទី2យើងមានលោក Mark Coleman ជា lawyer and civil rights មកជួយហ្នឹងលោក Dr. Alex Norman professor នៅ UCLA មកជួយស្ថាបអ្នក expert ហើយ Dr. Norman ខ្ញុំស្គាល់វា20ឆ្នាំ20 years I know Dr. Alex Norman I trust him from my heart yeah when you work with Maye BB so this is one of the best asset or the high believer of my community ហើយកិច្ចការនេះធ្វើដោយមិនអាចទៅរួចទេបើសិនបើគ្មានកន្លែងនេះ Maye Center គឺជាអង្គការ non-profit organization 51c3 ai nhạc của thiên kiến nó tự nhiên cái nhà lâu ra sau mấy nên sản mát biết sản đan chắc sự kiện nước ra tốt luôn chạy chui sản công đặc luôn chạy tại ao nặng lòng Israel nên lo mình cần nhưng mà đại score đấy phải lấy đi có ai mà khơi kinh chạy nó được không tăng cái lúc mà con na cái đoạn này nó mà tra xong cái con này chọn đặc luôn chui nhưng mà lên thì năng ai cứ cái ca cứ hay cái ca cuốn thì ta copy nó để tra gì nó đi lại vào mặt máy nó phải lấy đi. This is the heart of the Cambodian town. Next door UCC. The parade is profit free. So perfect location, perfect activist. How you can put năng tiếp look activist from Robert Garcia. Chuyện mình vẽ vào cái này profit cam sẽ làm không? Còn cái cam của người thì start. Cái nó mang old man mặt đây rồi. Còn còn đây tôi càng cho cái squat không? Cái ban mà chùa dừng thấy mới nhất bật đẹp trên đất kilo councilman at Austin. And this week, such a friend they drop squat làm việc cùng con là lúc này cảm nhận của nó mất biết qua luôn rồi hôm đó cái càng rồi cái ba cái tờ lobby tốt cái của chuối rồi giờ này bị cả trên bằng hai luôn at Austin mình qua chơi tay thứ tha quạt mấy tấm mấy quạt sau slide đó đặt lực đi mùi đánh đặt nông lương cái gì là trong nguyên chuẩn lót lắm để càng sẽ làm trong thiên mương mà tốt rồi và cho ấy miền Bắc Cam bị phụ dương trong càng lột mà con men ở lệch mà con men ở lệch nóมันชาxong rồi trong ấy các học những lan của cái dòng đặt ta ápประชังthế còn cái dương riêng con sẽ thắp vào nàng we came to the city hall to express our opinion when the councilman Austin mentioned there's some flaw very little flaw unintentional. In fact, the city have a good intention for us, but there's small aspect that misrepresentation. So we come express our opinion and then we come to a mutual understanding. That's why we come today and very appreciative to Mark and old friend everybody for bringing together. Sorry, I apologize, I translate too long, but I combine everybody together.
Thank you, Ed.
From the beginning of the year.
Okay, I left off. I left off on the bad news. So the bad news. Yeah, go on to the good news. Good. So the bad news, right? Around the country, elected officials have the power in most states, most jurisdictions, to draw their own districts. It's an inherent conflict of interest, and it's a power that is difficult to not use for your own sort of personal or political advantage, either for incumbent protection or to exact some sort of revenge on maybe a potential political opponent. What comes first is often the needs of the elected officials and not the needs of the community when electeds have the power to draw districts. So what's happening to push back on this? What's the good news? Well, it turns out in 5 states this year, there's reform to empower the public more, make redistricting a fair and more transparent process, much like what you're seeing right here in Long Beach. And this really started here in California, this national movement. In 2008, California Common Cause, along with a slew of allies, helped draft and pass Proposition 11, which created an independent Citizens Redistricting Commission in California. 2 years later, in 2010, Congress was added to its mandate. First, it was just for state legislative districts. And that was an incredibly successful experiment in democracy. 30,000 Californians applied to be on the commission. 20,000 gave their comments to the commissioners about what their communities were and why they should or should not be, placed in one district or another. And it's generally seen as a success. The districts that came out for Congress and state legislature were increasingly competitive, reflected the politics of the state.
California Common Cause គេបានចូលរួមជាមួយរដ្ឋប្រទេសទៀតមានចំនួន5ក្រៅពីរដ្ឋប្រទេសនេះចាប់តាមមានកម្រិតមួយថាដើម្បីជៀសវាងគេហៅថា conflict of interest បញ្ហាទាំងអីបាក់ពុកនិយមលំអៀងមិនអាចឲ្យអ្នកនយោបាយគុំផានទីសម្រាប់ដាក់អីខ្លួនឯងអង្គុយនេះត្រូវឲ្យប្រជាពលរដ្ឋជ្រើសរើសឲ្យរឿងមនុស្សដែលសង្គមនឹងរឿងមកថាមនុស្សមានភាពអព្យាក្រឹតមានការចេះដឹងចូលច្បាស់ពីស្ថានភាពភូមិសាស្ត្រ នឹងប្រជាពលរដ្ឋluônជ្រើសរើសដំបូងហ្នឹងគេជ្រើសមិនបានមនុស្សហើយ30000នាក់គេចំណាយទៅបាន20000នាក់ហើយបែងចែកទៅតាមប្រកបមកហើយទីផុតទៅអ្នកទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងគេជ្រើសរើសបានរើសអ្នកតំណាងនៅតាមរដ្ឋគេជំនាញដោយ California State Legislature រើសបានមកគឺថាអ្នកអស់ហ្នឹងឡើងកាន់តំណែងជាប់មិនមែនជាប់ដោយសារហើយទីនេះប្រមូលសក្តាបៈពុកអ្នកបោះឆ្នោតឲ្យខ្លួនឯងគេថាទៅតាមគុណភាពអ្នកឯងជាមនុស្សមានសមត្ថភាពមានប្រជាប្រិយប្រជារាស្ត្រទុកចិត្តគេបោះមិនគិតថា Democrat ឬប្រចាំគេ non partisan បាទដូច្នេះហើយចាប់ពីហ្នឹងមក Common Cause នឹងបានទទួលនឹងការគោរពសរសើរទុកចិត្តពីសង្គមនៅប្រទេសអាមេរិកចាប់តាំងពីនេះទៅឥឡូវទៅចង់ជា national movement ចង់ទៅជារឿងមួយទៅរដ្ឋទៅទៀតចាប់តាមចំណងទៅតាមគេចេញមកពីទីនេះគឺ Common Cause.
So ever since before California created its own bipartisan or sort of transpartisan Citizens Redistricting Commission, there were only 2 cities in California that had a similar model, some sort of independent, community-driven system for drawing districts. Since then, there are now 14 cities, across 14 jurisdictions across the state that have independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. Sacramento, Oakland, San Francisco, Modesto, Los Angeles County. Huge population centers that include about almost 18 million people. So there's been a huge movement across the country, across the state, to make redistricting a fair process. What are the reasons why you might want to adopt a Citizens Redistricting Commission at the local level? One, it depoliticizes redistricting. Again, makes it a community-driven process, not one that's driven by the needs of elected officials. 2, it increases public engagement and transparency. Requires decision makers to go around the state or around the city to hear from the people in their communities about their communities. And they are decision makers who really are putting the interests of the public first. It improves community representation, again, because this is a people-driven process. What we've seen in a bunch of cities as well is that it improves minority representation. In many cases, when districts are drawn by elected officials, you see a sort of mismatch between elected officials and the community at large. In cities like Anaheim and Chula Vista, you saw both of those cities had an increase of 2 minority districts. San Diego had a solidified African American district, and it created an LGBT district as well. In other cities as well, you see a reconfiguration of districts in a way that reflects the community at large and empowers people of color.
អង្គការ Common Cause ក៏គេដែលមានកតនាមពីស្គាល់គ្រប់កន្លែងទៅចាក់តាមមានទីក្រុងនៅរដ្ឋទីនេះចំនួន4ចាក់តាមចូលរួមទៅសកម្មភាពហើយជ្រើសរើសអ្នកតំណាងរបស់ខ្លួនហ្នឹងតែតាមរយៈ Redistricting ជ្រើសដោយគេថា Independent Commission ហ្នឹងក្នុងទីក្រុងទាំង4-5មាន Fresno, Modesto, Los Angeles County និង San Diego ហើយនៅក្នុងទីក្រុងទាំង4គេមើលពិនិត្យឲ្យបានជំរឿនទៅឃើញថាការរើសហ្នឹងមានភាពយុត្តិធម៌ពីព្រោះពីដើមមិនដែលមានជនជាតិស្បែកខ្មៅបានទៅធ្វើអភិបាលក្រុងគឺដាក់តាមពី policy ពីមកមានជនជាតិពីតិចតែមិនដែលធ្លាប់មានបានទៅកាន់តំណែងហ្នឹងហើយការទៅកាន់តំណែងហ្នឹងគឺថាបានមកដោយការពេញចិត្តបោះឆ្នោតពីប្រជារាស្ត្រខ្លួនគេមើលទីហោទៅមានស្បែកខ្មៅស្បែកសមានថា LGBT គឺពួកអ្នកដែលមានខាងមានកលៈនេះហ្នឹងគឺថាមានអ្នកតំណាងបានទៅជាអ្នកកាន់ការរដ្ឋក៏ចឹងគេឃើញថាដោយសារ Redistricting ហ្នឹងឯងទៅដល់ Independent Commission ហ្នឹងអ្នកអាចរីកហ្នឹងក៏ចឹងហើយគេមិនបណ្ដោយឲ្យអ្នកនយោបាយហ្នឹងធ្វើការពុះវាអានទីទៅតាមចិត្តខ្លួនឯងបានគឺថាចេញពីនេះដើម្បីទៅចម្បានវាក៏ប្រជារាស្ត្រសង្គមហ្នឹងចាប់តាមពីសកម្មភាពលោកឧទាហរណ៍នេះយើងកន្លែង Maye Center ចេញមកពីបេះដូងរាជសាមញ្ញសិក្សាបើឃើញទឹកផ្នែកកំណាចាប់តាមបញ្ចេញមតិមក lương về cao thì cổ làm tới nó cái ta democracy mà hay ta bottom up approach top down approach anh ta tôi bị cao năng cái đờiนี่ให้คือหลักหนักที่จะไปในเธอที่จะเอาจริงผมรู้ไว้อย่างอ๋อโดยเกี่ยวกับที่จะเป็นความรู้
So before I dive into kind of what a good commission looks like, I want to sort of make the point that not all citizen redistricting commissions are created equal. We're going to start by picking on the city of Los Angeles a little bit, talk about the commission that they have. So the city of LA has an advisory redistricting commission that has some problems that make it less independent, less community driven than we think it should be. It's advisory for one, which means that ultimately city council members themselves have to approve the districts. That commission does not have the power to approve them. Commissioners are directly appointed by sitting city council members, which could create sort of a conflict of interest. There are no baseline qualifications that say a person must have kind of a knowledge and understanding of the city, of its diversity, sort of nothing that tells us what commissioners need to be skilled at. Finally, there's no strong transparency requirements. There's no requirement that commissioner deliberations be out in public. Some of the reporting on LA's commission says, call it a, quote, who's who of career city hall puppets. Another one said it, quote, met in cliques behind closed doors. Essentially, all reports indicate that commissioners on the city of LA's commission did exactly what the council members who appointed them wanted them to do. So, I'll just conclude this section of what I'm talking about.
Cái chapter đó thì này đi vào Los Angeles là chỉ trong một nhà thấp. Ta sẽ rơi đẹp tầm nắng cao như vậy, mission thì ta máu thì ta sẽ tại bắt buộc dùng. Thì ta cái giờ ta Los Angeles. Thì bộ từ một city bộ advisory board. Còn cái tới advisory nó kia trở sẽ tại bắt buộc là bộ city council. Ở trong cái cơ đây còn dễ tham chỉ thấp hết của City Hall. Anh ta tới chỉ ở gió, ta chỉ cloud rồi của City Hall. Và trong đi chào sự cắn cái trong ban mấy, còn làถึง all tới. Nó cái thứ tám nó chắc tới một phiên phải giáo ta tầm năm là sẽ cũng gì. Còn trong chỗ ta nó thì cài mọi thứ được biết thì còn làm gì mà đấy. Đưa tranh của chi pro nó bên, hay đưa tranh của chi pro nó bên, ta đưa được biết mấy. Cái mưa lẹ cả nặng sầm bát ra nó, ôi đi thì bên chất bằng cái đạn mò, rằng phẩm bài ta đưa ta sẽ nhá bát đấy, ở ca sẽ nhá khơi được biết, bài ta khơi thì riêng, sẽ bắt tranh sẽ lái, và ta sẽ nhá khơi thì riêng, tục làm ca mà đầy miền côn sầm mặt của trần, ban thằng pin lẹ cả nặng đấy, ban đưa ca sầm bát chất, trong ca cụ anti nó cụ trần trâu ở miền nổi yên cái ăn là bát cụ là conflict of interest.
So. That's a bad example. Let's look about what a good example of a citizen commission could be. So I'm going to get into I'll close this portion of what I have to say with sort of the factors that California Common Cause looks for in our ideal commissions to draw districts. Independent authority. Does that body of citizens have the ultimate authority to approve districts? Or is it advisory? Does it have to be approved by city council members themselves? Our preference is that the body have independent authority to approve districts. Is there fairness built in? Looking at commissioner independence and impartiality. There are a couple ways that you ensure that. One, by having a selection method that is as independent from incumbent city council people as possible. One that's in which allows sort of broad participation applications from the public and a screening process that really doesn't involve city council members who are have the most to lose or gain from the drawing of districts. Is there an assurance of that the full diversity of the community is represented? That should be explicitly in a proposal. Is the criteria for drawing districts, is it neighborhood and community centric? Is it really about getting input from individuals and community groups and putting that into practice when districts are drawn? That's something we like to see. And finally, there's strong transparency requirements and opportunities for the public to participate? Are there hearings being scheduled around the city? Are all the deliberations on redistricting required to be in those public hearings? So there's no back channel between political consultants, sort of staff of members. Is everything out for the public to see? And finally, data and mapping accessibility. A really important way that we've seen in redistricting processes, at all levels in a bunch of different states, is that giving the community access to the same data and software that map makers are using can play a significant role in allowing community members to really show what fair districts could look like, instead of having sort of generalized complaints to say, look, we drew a district. This is what we think our community looks like and what our district should be. It's a really powerful tool. So ensuring that the community has that access is really important. So that's what we look for in an ideal.
Biết đây thì khu khai thi đang đúng thì ta cái thưa copy ở bên này thì cao nó thì ta chưa được rút tranh pi cùng thì cao thôi. Nhà nó thì ta flop thì ta nên sẽ làm việcอย่างchất sắc chỉ môi nó chỉ điในvùng bọc luôn. Cả cho nên cái mình ở box out mà cái lái sẵn đại chất cùng sát cái đây nó tự nhiên đi không nói đấy. Mình đi file của lại cái hearing để bị bê chứ, người ta nơi ta trục cầm bom đúng không? Bạn người ta phải chia riêng nơi cái này nó có ai nên lạc thiết ban châu là staff ban châu tôi phải tranh cho ball tranh bị những cái phân người ta kê mà đôi tôi bị muốn vô cho ball vào tôi ta bắt cô để dùng nhạc tôi để dùng bài lắm, cái ao nhạc bắt đầu cho ball cái vô cho ta political consultant, cái lobbyist, private investor, nâng ai si track hai những cái chuột máu tôi cái đôi cái đấy nhạc vô bài cả ta nè anh phải mà mới bị mơn chấm vô lấy máu ở gì chứ đây cái khu khai thi tăng bị mơn bây giờ hỏi họ vô tầm đất vô bao tranh cái khu nhạc đây là oxy sinh ngạt ta cho mình ở cái cái ta vô tranh bị liên bất mình họ thôi mà đi đấy đã nên một cách vào ai cái lại này cứ ta thi đi đấy nơi group cầm bon group cái lại thì xem nơi cái lại nát của mình lại thì bạn sẽ đánh tàu sau cuộc ai nè chia riêng đó ta commission đó thì đã chia riêng món đó cái ai ẩm ngái môi của ta ai nên là tập viên từ biển đất mơ nơi sẽ tết tất con lên tranh đi US Bureau of Census rồi thì census mà data tranh thì rồi sẽ lại rất nhiều mơ thì chỉ còn nơi không trong nhưng người ta thì county mà county thì theo có nhám mơ tranh thì state federal mơ federal và người ta miền thì đã biển đất mơ là thì đã trong người ta classify information lớn phải chia riêng để chia commission á để commission miền là cái việc quay mơ hay chặt mơ thằng thì cả lại những mai chán ai biết mang miền mai được mà ai mai miền được nán đi cả lại những mai chán đi Spanish cái gọi miền lại những miền của gay lesbian LGBT community chán còn tao là đang càng hiểu bài rất là phụ conservative anti gay lesbian hoặc là những vui nhạc làm nắng ở tranh thì riêng ở đây nó tiện chấm thì chỉ nhạc chấm cái đôi nhạc này thì cái lại đi không ai chấm ở cô ơi mà ta cứ mấy ông nhưng ở đi trong ngắn còn anh đi cô ông là tiên như ai ở tranh sẽ làm sao mà mình trong thế bọt cái tập bọt tới được bàn còn rồi nên nói đến ông ca không có bàn tôi đang còn nó cứ sầm rạp luôn này.
Great, so that is the end of the first part of what I'm doing. I guess I'll be back in about 20 minutes to talk about the proposal itself, but thanks for your time.
So now it is time for us to explain to you why we're here, and why we do what we do. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Coleman and Dr. Alex Norman.
It's a pleasure to be here today, and thank you very much, Sarah Bull, for all your translating. We're not going to take 20 minutes, but there are some important points about how we got here today.
Lúc Mark Coleman tại nó còn lúc ngọc này chán này bạn trâu được chung này đi hay quạt nên mình chỉ về còn mà hay đi còn bắt đầu chứ.
So I first came to Long Beach in the 1970s, and at that time the city council members were all elected citywide. So there were no districts back in the 1970s.
លោកម៉ាខុលមែនគាត់រស់នៅ Long Beach ឆ្នាំ 1970 ពីមុនមកគេរើសចៅសង្កាត់នៅ Long Beach សម្រាប់ដំណើរនៃសាលាក្រុងមិនមែនរើសពីសប្តាហ៍ទីបែងចែកហើយជាសង្កាត់គេថា citywide election តែរើសតែមួយរើសទាំងអស់ហ្មងខ្ញុំមិនគាត់សង្កេតឃើញថាគាត់ទៅមិនដឹង
So most of the people that were elected to the council came from one council district, the 3rd district, which is over by the beach, over by the east side, and also the 5th district. So because those districts have the largest number of active voters, they overwhelmed people in this area with the voting. They were able to elect the people that they wanted, and most of them came from that area.
កាលពីយើងទស្សវត្ស70ហ្នឹងការរើសចៅសង្កាត់ហ្នឹងគឺថាបោះគេថា citywide ហ្នឹងវាមាន9សង្កាត់ពីសប្តាហ៍អញ្ចឹងប៉ុន្តែសង្កាត់ដែលមានសកម្មភាពបោះឆ្នោតរឿងអ្នកតំណាងចេញមកតាំង9សង្កាត់ហ្នឹងវាច្រើនចេញតែពីសង្កាត់នេះសង្កាត់លេខ3ពីស្ទើរជាហើយសង្កាត់លេខ5បាទនេះតាមតំបន់ពុកស្បែកសហើយគេនឹងគេចុះឈ្មោះបោះឆ្នោតច្រើនចឹងគេបោះលើសញ្ញា9សង្កាត់មកដូច្នេះអាសង្កាត់ដទៃនេះគឺថាដោយអាយ៉ងចាំមកគេឬទៅមកដាក់មកចឹងពួកមានមកប្រយោជន៍សោះមានតែមនុស្សគាត់អត់បោះឆ្នោតខាងនោះគេបោះមកគេរើដាក់ចឹងហ្នឹងនេះគាត់សង្កេតឃើញការពីឆ្នាំ1970
So when we ask the question, why is redistricting important? The reason it's important is because everything that happens in Long Beach is done through city government. And the city government is controlled by the council members, all 9 of them, and the mayor's office. And if you don't have someone representing you, then your voice gets lost. And the people that have the voice tend to get more of the resources.
ហើយការបោះឆ្នោតរើសចៅសង្កាត់នៅទីក្រុង Long Beach នេះគឺថាគេទៅតាមសង្កាត់នីមួយៗសង្កាត់ទីទាំង9ហ្នឹងគឺថាពេលនេះគេរើសអ្នកតំណាងឬគូកន្លែងបោះឆ្នោតហ្នឹងគឺថាចេញមកពីចៅសង្កាត់អញ្ចឹងចៅសង្កាត់នេះគេរើសអ្នកតំណាងគេទៅតាមផលប្រយោជន៍របស់គេអញ្ចឹងប្រជារាស្ត្រនៅក្នុងមណ្ឌលរបស់គេហ្នឹងជួនកាលមានការមិនសប្បាយចិត្តមានការមិនយល់ស្របការយោបល់អត់បានទៅដល់លើនេះដោយសារខាងលើគេគូឲ្យស្រេចហ្នឹងកាលពីដើម
So in the 1980s, a lot of groups came together, and people have been talking about our Congressman Alan Lowenthal. He was then president of a group called Long Beach Area Citizens Involved, and that was a multiracial, multi-ethnic group. But a lot of groups that, in particular by that group, pushed for district-wide elections so that the council would be made up of representatives from all the areas of Long Beach in a way that was more equitable and fair for everybody, not just the people over on the east side.
អញ្ចឹងហើយនៅពេល10ឆ្នាំក្រោយពីឆ្នាំ 1980 លោក Alan Lowenthal សប្តាហ៍ជាសមាជិកតំណាងរាស្ត្រនៃការយល់តាមវាសនា Alan Lowenthal កាលពីដើមឆ្នាំ 1980 គាត់បានបញ្ចេញចំណុចហ្នឹងថាគូព្រំតែនហ្នឹងហើយជួយឲ្យសំរុំគឺថាចេញពីប្រជារាស្ត្រពីក្រោមទៅឲ្យទៅតាមយ៉ាង demography គាត់និយាយថាស្ថានភាពនៃប្រជាពលរដ្ឋបើថាស្បែកខ្មៅទៅគូឲ្យសំស្របទៅតាមកន្លែងគូខ្មៅពីច្រើនទៅតាមកន្លែង area មួយ Latino area មួយ Asian Filipino អញ្ចឹងนั่นคือใช้กำหนดเราตอนในประกาศเอาจำอย่างcommission មួយ independent เหมือนนั้นกูมีนโยบาย
So the African American community was pretty organized at that time, and they made sure there was one district that had a majority or a large concentration of African Americans, and that was the 6th district.
ដោយសារកំណត់លោក Alan Lowenthal ហ្នឹងហើយបានគេចាក់តាមគូផែនទីហើយតម្រូវតាមស្ថានភាពរបស់ប្រជាពលរដ្ឋហ្នឹងទៅបានពេលហ្នឹងហើយមានជនជាតិស្បែកខ្មៅម្នាក់បានឡើងទៅជាចៅសង្កាត់តែគេដែរមិនណាមានសោះចំនួនស្បែកសផងគឺចៅសង្កាត់លេខ6មិនមែនលោកឌីនមុនលោកឌីនទៀតតាមពីចំនួនឆ្នាំ80មកចៅសង្កាត់លេខ6គឺជាលើកទី1
So in the early 1990s, Latino power was becoming more prevalent in Long Beach. There was a group of organizations in Long Beach called El Concilio, which was a coalition of Latino groups, and they pushed for the creation of a more Latino district and that became the first district as we know it today.
Trong cái chôn chia Hispanic community đó, trong cái đó kia mới tất cả cái Úc chôn chia bài mai cứ bán đối với anh thôi. Giờ nói Úc thằng Latino đó, cái chặt đang tròn trong cái đấy thì càng to vào đấy, thì phát cái ban trai sự các cái thì Hispanic thì dùng cái sọc này thôi.
So in 1992, we were in the process of redistricting as well, and what happened then was the Latino group worked with the city government, and one of the shenanigans or the tricks that was talked about by Dan happened here. And Alan Lowenthal was running for his first election for city council in 1992 against the 35-year incumbent, and the group, the Concilio and the incumbent and all the other councilors got together and they created the second district in a certain way that redistricted Alan Lowenthal out of his own district.
Trong nó đồ ở đây mình to lắm, có ba cho xuống tới chọn vào cái cá dịch cắt lấy pì, đang làm một con một cá dịch pì, có bằng cái cá dịch cắt trong chứ, nhạc để sang một con cái đồng chiếu bái cũng hay tí, chia con trào rồi con học này đi, và tại sao cá cũng hay tí, cái bốn trắng người ta lực yên, nói rằng đồ mà con mình chạm vào đâu.
So Alan had to move out of his house and live somewhere else while he ran for office. And then once he was elected, the district boundaries were redrawn, and Alan's house was put back into the second district, where it had been for as long as anyone can remember.
Tôi nói rồi, Alan to chỗ, cái cu mất thì chia qua tranh nhá, nói qua ở mua tiếc đâu ở đấy từ đẹp hay đi với cu mó làm mấy đạo đấy bởi con bác cái này thì mình chạy zone này cái district boundary đó, rồi cái to là cái cu hay nó biết cái chia tao mấy, cái này chúng ta khó tiếc đấy, nó chỗ đó là
So Alan was very sensitive to the issue of redistricting because it happened to him, and so he was the champion of the statewide legislation that created independent redistricting, and fast forward to 2015 with Councilor Austin, and more recently 2017, a group of us started looking at redistricting here in Long Beach, and I'll tell you how that got started in a second.
Rồi, nào đi, anh đang lên to đấy, flop, mình phải bỏ chú chọn trở nào, đến thì còn lọc quạt, đầu tay trong đó. Trong khi phát và mà nói thì nó cả là từ nét ở đây thế đấy, quạt được flop, bình dạng đồng đạt. Để cho nên có chặt đàm để trong mọi việc từ independent commission đó, mình nói tao chỉ ở mà bỏ phụ chỉ ở đây đấy, và hỏi bạn là chẳng hay bạn thì năm khi con đập răng đó, thì con đập nhẹ máu miên ca prai thua chán này, ai không tiếng ho không bên có miên nhẹ thì flop đâm lên nó chưa rồi, Austin, ta sẽ đặt đây của mấy rồi flop bàn rồi nó còn đằng ở đây ngoài mình, chẳng bàn chẳng pin nữa, người ta do cho đặt mà chui phụ dưỡng này, tôi nhà đánh kia sủng đấy là không xích rồi, và ai chẳng thấy bàn thì tại sao ở lục con nhé bàn riêng như một hộp đó này.
I should learn Khmer because I think Sarah Booth is funnier than I am. So, in last year, 2017, Laura and Alex and I were teaching a class here at the Maye Center on civics, organizing, and government. And one of the areas that we talked about was political power and how cities are organized. So, at the end of the class, one of the students, Bree Saran, who's here today, want to stand up, Bree Saran. So she asked the question, how do we organize in our community for more political power?
Năm khi con là một phần đó, đồ mặc con ra đấy, con đồ ở đây con mà nó bán ngon của riêng, để mình lại mê sân tới đấy, hay nhạc này mình chặt thêm đấy, mà cũng cứ nên lo ra sau, ta còn nghĩ là chơi chặt tung mai dũng, mà riêng thì sao mình lấy gì sao có, cổ xếp riêng cho civic duty, còn riêng thì cách cao sản cùng, ai đọc con đấy. Tôi cú đi cần đi qua một cô bệnh rồi con sang đến cái tâm trạng lấy bay bớt nữa này Đó là vô đó cũng ra con. Chúng ta lọt cái đó. Thì sát tối lại cái đó thì chắc đang xua rồi với cái đòn một vì sao đó nhé, trẻ con sang muốn nhé, tầm chắc làm gì đấy sao đó. Con xua ta hiện CV trình thể chúng con xua ta mai nhưng mà cần đó hết cái công viên này cần nàng gì chẳng á, con xua nó chẳng các cái sang kia chứ, tại cái thứ mấy, anh part of the CV enrichment class ESL, rồi lúc lúc đi chăm sóc, có cái con dân xưa mà mắt nó đó chú bài chắc ra phải vô là vô tới chắc ra biết trong tổng tập lúc này, thế nên nhà xây đi nó chơi chia sầm lô con á. Okay,
so we started looking at maps, and my good friend Alex Norman has a group called Rethinking Long Beach, who had done tremendous amounts of work pulling out the data from the city of Long Beach and giving it to the people. And that's one thing that Dan was talking about, is how do you get information? If the city doesn't give it to you, in Long Beach, we were fortunate enough to have Rethinking Long Beach, and they produced all the maps. And we looked at the map of this area, and we said, well, Cambodia Town is basically divided into 4 districts.
Hay mơ lại cô rọt mai này và mơ tới Cambodian Town chúng ta phải nói đấy là lọt song khang mà đông chung với những sách các mẹ con cái phải lại máy các bạn phun tới cái buôn sừng cắt đào dọc lời tôi chụp rung đánh còn là song khang tới tới sừng cắt ở kia thôi quan trọng lắm theo đúng tới ở trong tới một con nhạc thì nghe TV mà lại bác tại còn mày cô đi bác bán thì bác mình cả quan trọng để tránh quan trọng đang cho đến mười lúc nó mới mau chuyển được 10 ta phải thứ mấy làm mấy ở trong trời.
So most of this area is in the 6th district, but it cuts off, and then parts of it's in the 4th, part of it in the 1st district, part of it in the 2nd district. So as we looked, we saw that the Cambodian community in this area is in all of those 4 districts. Then we asked the question, why can't the Cambodian community have what the Latino community has, what the African American community has, and that is the community kept intact in a single council district.
Có chuyện mới tới Khmer giống bay chạy của sân tát lịch muối, sân tát lịch pi, sân tát lịch 4, sân tát lịch 1. Hay lần anh hai lần cherry nó thì phụ kiên tay bị bay 4 sân tát. Thế nên có ta bằng bán tới đầu cho bay. Phụ sạc thì đây phụ Hispanic, phụ Black thì cứ bán rồi đi Khmer nề rọp bên nhá, thường bán hay sọp bát đi.
So we drew a map that showed Cambodian community in one district, and we started going to council offices, and we said, why can't the council redistrict now to correct the historical wrong that has left this community split against the very criteria the city adopted in 2010, which said that ethnic communities having clear definitions and boundaries should not be divided. And of course, Cambodia Town is a very clear community being created by the very city council that divided them. So we began asking, can we redistrict this area so that this community is part of one council district?
Nếu bên này ở lô cái ban từ là trong Long Beach hay bị dây chỉ mùi nè đặt non đây là trong đấy tam bị hai tí tam bị chỉ tôi nói lắm khi ta đi trong Long Beach thì ta tôi khóc thôi khóc bạc để nhọt khi tổng đại máu Khmer đến đây của môn nó đấm bay chạy tới cái buồn cái ta liên nghiên cứu máy cài phải có một crop mưa máu từ máu bàn đấy nè rồi trong cái càng là trong cái ta liên đến việc là con nói của dân tại su cái trong trang thì quan đọc tới đấy đọc trang thì đi sinh mà đòn every 10 years rồi tới khi còn đọc thì sẽ tới ta đọc khi còn một cây hay như từ số trong chẳng hạn tí nữa ở trong cái ông chúng bài thì mấy năm bây giờ cái đồ thôi.
So, independent of what we were doing, the city had already begun to look at the idea of changing the way the city did redistricting and taking it out of the hands of the politicians and giving it to citizens.
នៅពេលដែលពួកអស់លោកនឹងទៅធ្វើការតវ៉ាឲ្យបញ្យល់នោះបានសាលាក្រុងឡង់ប៊ីចហ្នឹងจากการពិសេសលោកអភិបាលក្រុងឡង់ប៊ីចហ្នឹងហើយអ្នកតំណាងយកចិត្តទុកដាក់ឲ្យថាចង់តរដូវក្បួនចាំវិញគូខាងគេមិនមែនឲ្យនយោបាយចាត់តាំងគេឲ្យគេគូឲ្យខ្លួនឯងទេត្រូវយកក្បួនតិចយកឥឡូវលោកតរបានបញ្យល់ហ្នឹងគឺថាឯករាជ្យម្ចាស់ការអត់មាននគរណាហើយតំណាងប្រជារាស្ត្រនៅចេញពីកំណត់តែគាត់ពីអ្នកបានទៅតវ៉ា
So in June of this year, we heard the first presentation of what the city's proposal was for the ballot coming up in November for redistricting and changing the way the city does redistricting to take it out of the hands of the city council.
ចឹងហើយបានជាខែមិថុនាអត់គឺថាត្រឹមតែមកខែ6ខែមុននេះសាលាក្រុងនេះគេបានដាក់ការពិច័យពិសាគ្នាមួយពីរឿងហ្នឹងបាទតែធ្វើម៉េចដល់អំណាចចេញពីអ្នកដែលពូផែនទីពីមុនថាបកពុនិយមហ្នឹងឲ្យទៅជារបៀបសុចរិតជាត្រង់ឯករាជ្យទៀតតាមកំណត់ដែលលោក7អ្នកបានស្នើនិងលោកបន្តអានលោកបន្តតំណាងនេះគាត់ឲ្យយោបល់គាត់ចឹងបានគេចាប់តាមធ្វើការកែសម្រួល
And we didn't like what they come up with.
ប៉ុន្តែពេលខែ6ហ្នឹងពេលដែលគេសាលាក្រុងគេគិតហើយគេបញ្ចេញសំណុំរឿងហ្នឹងដើម្បីបោះឆ្នោតយើងពិនិត្យមើលមុនគេចេញបោះឆ្នោតយើងមើលទៅយើងមិនពេញចិត្តដោយសារមានចន្លោះខ្លះវាមិនគេថា fraud វាពុកតោះចឹងហើយបានជាពួកយើងខ្ញុំទាំងអស់ឡើងទៅបញ្ចេញមតិប្រាប់គេថាត្រង់នេះមិនទៅ
So it was not independent. It didn't take the power away from the city council. There weren't any guidelines for who could be on the committee, and it wasn't very clear what the committee was supposed to use, the commission was supposed to use, to decide how to redraw the boundaries.
នៅពេលហ្នឹងយើងបានឡើងទៅចំអល់ចំណុចដែលខ្វះខាតនេះមួយចំណុចទី1ហើយប៉ុន្តែសាលាក្រុងវិញនិយាយថានឹងកែសម្រួលឲ្យគឺល្អទៅតែអាការដែលរើមទីគូហ្នឹងនៅតែមានជាប់អសេមសាមតាក់ទាញជាមួយនឹងអធិពលនៃសាលាក្រុងឡង់ពីកដាទី1ទី2បុគ្គលិកលក្ខណៈអ្នកដែលត្រូវទៅតំណាងហ្នឹងចុងក្រោយទៅអត់គ្រប់លក្ខណៈសម្បត្តិដែលសម្រាប់ឲ្យប្រជារាស្ត្រនៅក្នុងតំបន់នេះគេទុកចិត្តទុកឡើងហើយមានចំណុចទី3ទៀតដែលយើងបានចង្អុលប្រាប់គេនោះថាត្រូវតែកែត្រង់ហ្នឹងបើមិនចឹងទេការធ្វើច្បាប់ទៅមកដូចកដែរ
So at the June meeting, the mayor said, "Oh, don't worry about that. This was just to get it started. But why don't you help us write the law the way you think it should be?"
នៅពេលហ្នឹងលោកអភិបាលក្រុងវិញលោក Robert Garcia ហ្នឹងក៏បានហៅពួកយើងទៅជួបគាត់ជាមួយអ្នកធ្វើការគាត់គាត់សួរថាឥឡូវខ្ញុំអាចឃើញចេញអស់ពីពុះពីផ្លើមហើយដើម្បីកម្រៃចិត្តអស់លោកបងប្អូនខ្មែរហ្នឹងឥឡូវនៅតែខ្វះការទៀតឥឡូវខ្ញុំតល់ចំណេះលោកប្រាប់ខ្ញុំវិញខុសតណាចេញពីកណ្ដាលលោកមកចាំខ្ញុំសម្រួលតាមវិញ
So we said, if you're going to let us write the law, we're happy to participate.
គាត់ថាឥឡូវយើងបង្កើតធ្វើច្បាប់ហ្នឹងយើងប្រាប់ថាទេយើងធ្វើយ៉ាងដូចយើងគួយលើឆ្កែលើខ្លួនឯងវិញណាកុំឲ្យចោលទៀតឥឡូវខ្លួនឯងវិញណាតែចឹងថាអត់ទេនៅតែឲ្យ Independent Commission ហ្នឹងអ្នកគូទៅដែរប៉ុន្តែយើងសូមឲ្យកែលក្ខណៈសម្បត្តិ3 4ដែលជាមានទៀតឆ្កោមដោយអចេតនានេះគេចង់ជួយតែគេយល់ដូច្នេះយើងនៅក្រុមយើងយល់ថាបាក់ទឹកចិត្តយើងវាមិនសុបាយចិត្តហ្នឹងយើងទៅប្រាប់គេទៅឲ្យគេកែហ្នឹងយើងចាំមកប៉ុណ្្នឹងឯងមិនថាឲ្យគេទេមកយើងពូខ្លួនឯងអញ្ចឹងយើងថាគេធ្វើខ្លួនឯងដែរដូច
So I want to again thank Mark Taylor from the mayor's office and the mayor Robert Garcia because they opened the doors to invite us to come work with them. And to make a long story short, we've been working with them ever since. And we think that the changes in the proposal, because it's been completely changed from what it originally was, are very good, and that we have one of the best independent citizens redistricting commissions in the state of California. So I'm going to turn over to Dr. Norman for his comments, but that's what I leave it at for my comments.
ហើយ ចាប់ពីខែមិថុនាហ្នឹងដែលមានបញ្ហានឹងមកគឺថាលោកអភិបាលក្រុងឡុងប៊ីច Robert Garcia នោះបានចាត់តាំងពិសេសឲ្យលោក Mark Taylor ជា Chief of Staff ហើយ Jonathan នេះតាមលោក Austin ហើយអ្នកបុគ្គលិកនឹងសារក្រុមផងទៀតមកអង្គុយផ្ទាល់ជាមួយយើងវិទ្យាសាស្ត្រនេះកែសម្រួលទៅណាដើម្បីធ្វើឲ្យរឿងវាបានត្រឹមត្រូវទៅជាប្រវត្តិសាស្ត្រឡុងប៊ីចបាទសូមអរគុណដល់អ្នក
I always forget, Jonathan Prowse and Al Austin were really the ones who got this going, so they deserve a round of applause.
I shall be even briefer. Basically, my role was really as an assistant to the teacher. He was the teacher, of course. But when we came to the point of looking at the district, because of my background with the Redistricting Greater Long Beach, I was able to get together with my colleague William Crampton, and we crafted a map which showed the districts, and it showed the composition of the Cambodian community and the major districts in which Cambodians live. The 6th, 4th, and the 9th.
លោកអាឡេណូម៉ាននេះគាត់ថាគាត់នេះជាកូនសិស្សរបស់លោកគ្រូ Mark Coleman នេះគាត់នឹងយកការពិសោធន៍របស់គាត់ឲ្យគាត់បានធ្លាប់មានការចូលរួមសកម្មភាពជាមួយនឹងគេថា Redistricting Long Beach កាលនោះខ្ញុំក៏បានចូលទៅការទៅជួយរួមមួយគាត់កាលពីឆ្នាំ2018នេះចឹងទៅក៏មានមិត្តម្នាក់ឈ្មោះ William Crampton
Yes.
ជាតែWilliam Crampton គេជាមិត្តហើយធ្វើការនៅក្នុងឡាន Long Beach ដឹងរឿងច្រើនសូមឲ្យលោក William Crampton ចាប់ដើមពិនិត្យមើលស្ថិតិផែនទីហើយភូមិផែនទីដែលយើងគ្រោងទុកដើម្បីធ្វើការកោវ៉ាហ្នឹង
And so what you can see is, you can see the different districts here. And basically what we did was look at Cambodia town and where the majority of Cambodians were located. And this green area represents 52% of all Cambodians in Long Beach. So that meant that when the district was split here, it left a sizable proportion of Cambodians in the 4th district and a much larger group in the 6th district.
There's the 1st and the 2nd down here.
And the 1st and the 2nd are down here, but the 4th and the 6th district were the ones that were most involved.
ចូលលើគេស្រាប់នេះគឺជាផែនទីទីក្រុង Long Beach ក្នុងពេលបច្ចុប្បន្ននេះវាមាន9សង្កាត់ពណ៌មួយគឺសង្កាត់នីមួយៗ9ពណ៌ហ្នឹងអាហ្នឹងសង្កាត់ទាំង9ប៉ុន្តែបើនិយាយពីពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរវិញនៅក្នុងតំបន់នៃពណ៌បៃតងនេះខ្មែរយើងវាយើង 52% នៅក្នុងតំបន់នេះតំបន់ហ្នឹងវាចំកណ្ដាលបេះដូង Long Beach តែពលរដ្ឋនេះហើយគេពុះចែកទៅជា4សង្កាត់ក្នុង4សង្កាត់ហ្នឹងសង្កាត់2ដែលមានខ្មែរច្រើនគឺសង្កាត់លេខ6ណាជា Cherry ចឹងត្រឡប់ទៅកូនហើយនេះសង្កាត់លេខ4របស់លោក Supernal និង Ruby គ្រូបែងចែកហើយក្រៅហ្នឹងវានៅសង្កាត់លេខ2និងលេខបាទលេខ1ទៀតបាទអញ្ចឹងហើយបានថាខ្មែរហ្នឹងហើយបានឲ្យគេគុំអញ្ចឹងហើយរឿងខុសច្បាប់ទាំងស្រុងតែរឿងពីដើមមកយើងមិនបានចាប់អារម្មណ៍ឥឡូវយើងឃើញហើយយើងបន្តបាន
So you can see that if we had the majority of this group in one district, the voting influence would be much greater. So that even if you could not elect a Cambodian as a representative, you'd have enough influence that whoever was elected would have to respond to a Cambodian agenda.
យើងឃើញហ្នឹងនេះគឺកន្លែងខ្មែរនៅ 52% យើងចង់ឲ្យគេបានគូផែនទីដែលតាមច្បាប់នេះត្រូវឲ្យតំណាងឲ្យពលរដ្ឋនៅអញ្ចឹងតែយើងគូនោះមិនមែនគូសម្រាប់តម្រូវតែខ្លួនយើងទេវាខុសច្បាប់ណាស់ là cô sẽ nhắc đặt Khmer là chọn nào thì tụi bay Khmer mình chọn nào thì trai sẽ cắt thì si con sư cái nào nhắc đầu tây spy Khmer spy so spy lương spy cái đó đây cái chỉ si con sư chọn nào cái nó cả cái Khmer nhắc nó trở tay start nơi giờ bom là bom chiều rồi Khmer của Khmer gì đặt bom nào trở này tôi là tới bom lại nè rồi dân mà chặt nó vậy con ta thì muốn máu dân mà chặt nó con ta bom bay của họ bán rồi cái bài chạy cho bút cả họ nên tụi muốn lấy tụi muốn lắm con ta to là hai tí nó phun tao chụp nó cao.
So at one point during the petitioning to the council, we thought, what if we just move the boundary over, which would include the Cambodians in the 6th district. However, you can see that Lakewood and Paramount and Signal Hill really infringe upon Long Beach, so it creates a U out of Long Beach. And taking residents out of one district means that all of the other districts would have to be shifted. So when the mayor came in with his redistricting proposal, we wanted to assure that that this could never happen again. And so even though they will not allow for ethnicity to be a criteria for inclusion into the district, they do allow for culture, language, and the history of the people together. And so what we've included in the new proposal is to allow that no district that has a common language or history or culture should be divided. And that way, this can never happen again.
Bà sẽ chỉ cu tam cầm rơi chặt dân chóng bạn mà dưỡng được bà còn rồi thì tuổi district mua mới cái cầm nắp thì chưa có rồi thì buôn mình phải còn nạp tiền và việc rong đi một điều này lại gì nè bài chạy bộ tất bởi dân cu máu về tự chia do phải chỉ có rồi nên các kế một đặt để mình mai nên trong đồng bóng cái nó đặt màu sắc để mình là mai đồng mũi thằng kia khâu nó cái tự thay nước với tự trâu ta sắc đấy thế ta việc băng với đi đâu mà nấu băng không rồi ở trong việc đôi mắt làm bây giờ rồi nên còn tới giờ bị bà trong lòng bị rồi bây giờ xin nó còn ở chỗ bao ta làm bây chỉ như cầm áo mình bay hai tâm một nhai trở tiết dương tự tất cả anti để phun máu tôi cầm lợi tất cả rồi còn để sắc phun sắc ai năng vấp vào thua để xa cho nên rồi lọt vào chỉ còn một mũi ở bàn xong trong tay nhặt nên nắng thì mình cà phê chết lắm thì ta nghe kia từ các bạn bay.
So as a committee, we're continuing to move forward with our request. We have more than 33,000 petitions that are signed, 3,000 signatures of people who are supporting this movement to include Cambodians and the bulk of these Cambodians in this area in a single district. So we're going to move forward with that. And whether those petitions go to the council or they go to the new independent redistricting committee, we're still going to request the same thing because we think that this is an education not only for the community, but it's an education for the elected officials as well. That when residents have the information and they engage in civic engagement, their voices should be heard.
Nó bên tiếng Anh nhưng mà còn mỗi bàn hạt lấy tha thì chưa có rót rằng sáng nay thì tình trạng nó là petition rồi bàn chưa phải còn đi trả chẳng hạn là không biết thì mình xem những ba phần bảy con này thì ta ra ở trong ấy hạt lấy tha chẳng chuyên bảy con này thì do tập cô nói là trống hay cả khu pan tí nó tụ bay kia là trống nó sẽ chắc là khu pan tí mấy tam giác ca cha tăng ca sản xuất thì nuôi cơ đơn tranh independent commissioner để cả PPG đi bên tụ bay khả năng cái đó chỉ là khu nó rơi tại staff vô bò nhận để sang petition nhận bay con nhận của thì trả tàu để trả tiền tiền.
And so the important thing we think is that this has shown that when people get together and they collaborate, and they move forward with one collective vision, that it is possible to accomplish almost anything. So we would encourage this group of Equitable Cambodians for Redistricting to open its arms to other community groups, because it's only by moving united that you can gain the power that's necessary in this politically charged environment. And there is a saying in the community that if you're not at the table, you are likely to be part of the menu. So in order to be at the table, it means that we really need to open our arms and collaborate with our brothers and sisters so that we can move forward as a single community rather than as individuals. Thank you.
ហើយគឺជាលទ្ធផលនៃការរួមរំសាមគ្គីភាពគ្នាបើសិនយើងបានរួមធ្វើកិច្ចការគ្នាថាជាម្ដងថ្ងៃនេះកិច្ចការនោះបានចេញទេដូច្នេះហើយការយើងធ្វើនេះគឺផ្ដល់គំរូមួយដ៏ល្អទៅជនជាតិប្រទេសទៀតដែលគេមានបញ្ហាយើងណាក៏តាមនឹងគេធ្វើយ៉ាងម៉េចយើងទៅជាអ្នកឲ្យមេរៀនមួយល្អសម្រាប់គេធ្វើគាត់ឲ្យពាក្យស្លោកពាក្យសម្រាប់នេះគាត់ថា Yeah, not on the table. You're talking when you look at a pot, you get a cup of sample and ham and chip and walk. Palita, Minta, car room, some people, high, Minta, 30 China from Trump in Canada. Get Trump, so I could once a right, so we all like it, usually trying that. But often,
I like to open up our question, I'd like to invite Mr. Dan and Sylvia to come forward, and we're going to open up for questions from our audience. For questions, you may stay here. You don't know who we're going to ask.
Okay.
So, anybody have a question? It is now your time to ask a question. You heard from both sides, from Common Cause and from us, the Redistricting. Please.
Good morning, everyone. Carlos Valle, Executive Director of People of Long Beach. My question has to do, it's directed towards Common Cause, but really any one of the people up front can answer. The draft resolution that's currently on the city's website indicates that the mayor selects who the commission members are. And that to us goes back to the question about whether it's the city council or the mayor has power which over the commission, which can lead to corruption. Can you answer that, please?
That's an older draft. The most recent version has an open application process and either a city ethics commission or a panel that's a retired judge, academic, nonprofit leader, to do the screening and the random selection of applicants. So the mayor's office isn't involved.
I'm Paul Maye with the People of Long Beach. So how do we know who is actually going to select? So if you're saying that it's not actually the mayor and city council that will be selecting the members, but you're thinking that it might be an ethics commission, is that?
That's the current statutory language.
So what is the statutory language? I mean, everybody needs to know it. It's not on the website.
Yeah, so there have been two versions of the law.
Yeah,
and
but my question is, what is the second version?
Yeah, the second version, I'm going to get to you in a minute, but the mayor's office is not involved in selecting
in the final version.
In selecting the commissioners. The commissioners are being selected by an ethics commission, and then
where does the ethics commission come from? Are they from LA County, state?
No,
they're from Long Beach. That's the subject of another charter amendment.
Now, who selects the members of that ethics commission?
Well, I don't know that yet because
that's really important. You have to follow the money, right?
Yeah, it is important.
So according to what's on the website, it might be old too, when it's over there. But according to the website, the person that selects the ethics commission is the mayor. So you guys need to follow the money. So Dr. Norman,
Yes.
I think you'll understand what I'm talking about.
I hear you.
So we
Yeah.
all want to be able to sit on that table. We don't want to be part of that menu. But the way it's still being set up and the way you common costs are backing it up, we are in the menu. So not until that gets clear, which also includes then the ethics issue, we are still in the menu and we're not sitting at the table. Can you answer that, common cost? Can you answer that, doctor? Can you answer that, attorney?
Give it to me, that's great.
Well, no. The point that you're making is one that we were really interested in because we wanted the city clerk involved in the selection of a group of people that would be proposed from each district to be included in the pool that would be selected to ultimately make the commission. And that would have been for 13 people. And then we reserved 4 additional people that when the commission was appointed and in place, in order to balance out the ethnic diversity or whatever diversity was necessary, LGBT or whatever, that there would be 4 additional positions that those 13 people would be able to select from. Now, I've not seen the website that you're talking about. What we have is the updated draft. So we'll have to go to that website, but maybe they just haven't updated it. But we'll be at the meeting on Tuesday to ensure that the independent status of this commission is secure, because that's what we were all about when we were
So
there.
may I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I am in agreement with the idea or with the dream that this community has of having the vote, to having the opportunity to one day send a council member from this community to City Hall. I love that idea, and I think it's amazingly good because these people have been working so hard for it. But there's a bunch of other communities in the city of Long Beach that also want that same representation because of environmental issues, because of airport issues, a whole bunch of other issues. And we're all in the same page, in the same understanding. However, before Common Cause starts backing up something, especially Common Cause, which is a national organization, I think you ought to rescind until this is addressed and clearly spelled out so that there is no confusion, no doublespeak, or any of those sorts of fancy words, especially in this day and age when the truth is false and the false is truth. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I think your point's a good
Thank
point.
you.
Because we don't know what the ethics commission is going to be yet, because they're still creating proposals for it. But you're right, because we don't know how that's going to function. That is still an issue that's outstanding. So we're gonna watch that on Tuesday. I urge you to come Tuesday as well and see what they're proposing exactly. Because you're making a good point. I will say that Commissioner Poole, that is the pool from which the selections are made, is very geographically diverse and also diverse in terms of ethnicity, national origin, LGBT community issues, gender. All those issues are set forth with that. It is a representative group in the pool that the commissioners pick from. So that is something, since the commission will be creating a screening commission that will ultimately pick the commissioners. You're right, that is something that is not nailed down yet, We do need to look at that. We've not been involved in the Ethics Commission, but it is important.
Yes. And may I just add, and before that, I do appreciate your question, but I was at that meeting on June 6th, at the beginning of the hearing, and that is part of the reason why we don't want to be on the menu. We want to be at the table. So surprisingly enough, at that particular time, there are 5 charter amendments that proposed into the council, but yet there's no people show. So again, go back to that. Yes, you want to be at the table? August 7th, 3:30, back together. Be at the council chamber and talk about that, because we are here talking about the redistricting, and we have no idea of other the charter amendment that they were talking about. So we really kind of focus on this. So, but we're gonna take a look at that. In the meantime, we will invite each and every one of you who are here, not here, at home. Let's come on up and fill out that room and be a part of everything. Thank you.
And that's on Tuesday at 3:30 at the council chambers. So this coming up week, right?
Is it 3 o'clock or 3:30? 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Let me say that that's really important, because at the last 2 meetings, the Cambodian community has really been carrying for the city as a whole. So we went beyond the issue of redistricting for Cambodia to the Charter Commission, in a sense. We shot for the moon and we ended up on the stars. You know, because we were thinking simply of this community. But when the independent commission presented itself before us, it also presented us with an opportunity to advocate for the total community. And so, since no one else was there, that's why we included in the proposal the inclusion of language, history, and culture as criteria that would demand that the redistricting committee not split communities based on.
So I have comments and then follow-up questions. We were as angry, and we went to the June 12th to discuss this issue. And as a result, we were given the opportunity by the city to participate. The city put out these proposed amendments, but they were actually waiting for citizens to participate. And so with the draft of the citizen redistricting, if the Ethics Commission is not voted on by us, does not go through, but the citizens redistricting goes through, what procedure will the selection of the commission be falling back on?
Okay, so the fallback procedure is that you have a panel of 1 retired judge, 1 law, government, public policy professor, like Dr. Norman, and 1 member of a governing board of a nonprofit, and that forms the screening committee. The other answer to your question is that the screening committee randomly from the pool picks the 9 commissioners. So it isn't that they get to pick exactly who it's going to be, but they have to randomly pick under Section H of the new proposal.
And the 9, that comes from each district, is that right?
Yeah, one from each district.
Yeah, and an important sort of added protection is that there are a slew of conflict of interest prohibitions that prevent political insiders, their families, current electeds, recent candidates, people who have given a certain amount of money to local candidates, people with a kind of personal stake in the drawing of districts, they are excluded from being even in the pool in the first place.
Is California Common Cause taking a position on the current draft of the Ethics Commission that's going to be a final council vote on the 7th, or any of the other mayor proposed charter amendments?
We're still working with the mayor's office on the language. Our ethics guru, Nicholas Hydorn, who's in our Sacramento office, knows this stuff up and down, and we see the city of Oakland as being kind of a gold standard proposal, and we're working with the mayor's office to make it look more like that. So
he's not taking a position
not
yet?
Not yet.
Okay, Dr. Paul.
My name is Sarah Paul Lim, and I'm here community advocate. And this is the first time in appreciating not only Common Cause but the committee what Laura and Mark and Dr. Norman's able to do. And this is an equity. It's giving us an opportunity to kind of look back 25, 30 years ago. We're not at the table. If you listen to the historical highlight, civic engagement and the aspect of learning how to participate and having voice was this community, our community that came from a traumatic past, has not even emerged, not even want to participate, let alone, this is the era. So I just wanted to put a thought where we're so proud of our community, but if we're taking this step to really equalize all of us in the community of Long Beach and to protect what is in the future of redistricting, in dividing what the chop of the 4th district in the 90s that we saw. And it's not just a time that after 30 years to have just a Cambodian representative, but it's an inspiration, is the motivation to get our community to engage and believe in the process. So if you're looking at it as big as not just this group get to be engaged and that group not, it's not. It's a process where all of us in the community, and census gonna come out, this is the largest Cambodian community, and all of us in every district has a chance to be recognized and to be proud of who we are as part of the city. So I just wanted to put it out there for those of you who say, hey, I want to be at the table. All of us might be, but there's a group of us that, we're still afraid to be at that table because we don't know whether we're the menu or we're part of the decision making. So just, so follow the process. And I really appreciate all of you and all of us that being here, and Common Cause, you champion this justice process, so stay cool, and you have great leader around you. Thank you.
And I want to share one last thing on behalf of the Equity for Cambodians. When we went into this process, it was very difficult for us because we didn't know how things were functioning. We were very angry, and so we brought our passion to the city council members as well as the mayor. Later on, we discovered it was actually an invitation for us to work with them. And so when we approach another individual who is working at this mission, we said, hey, let us share you the secret. It's actually you write out what it is you want in this policy. You submit it to the mayor's office, and he will contact you and say, okay, here it is. For us, when we sat down with Jonathan and Mark Taylor, who is the chief staff of the mayor's office, he says, okay, the people, what model do you want to use? Do you want to use Sacramento's? What other cities do you want to use? And we said we want Sacramento's. And then we want to make it better than Sacramento's because the city of Long Beach is diverse, is different. And so we're going to change it. And they voted 9-0 and accepted all of the changes that the Equity for Cambodian put into forth. And we partnership with the Common Cause, with Dan and Nicholas, and says, we want this for our people. You as attorneys, will this provide us exactly what we want? And what other clause can we put to safeguard it? And they helped us. And so that's how we work with Common Cause.
Thank you. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to ask a question about detail of the proposed districting. But first of all, I'd like to thank and comment the committee for their work, which is the very ideal of the founding of this republic, which is taxation with fair and equitable representation. So I'd like to know that in the proposed redistricting for the new council district, you said that 51% composed of not necessarily ethnic Cambodian, but people who share the same language, history, and culture. In those 51%, do you have any breakdown on how many of those are eligible to vote and how many are registered to vote?
No, the 51% was really not of the total community. It was just a number of Cambodians in the area. It was, I think it's at 51.9% or something like that. But we have
all Cambodians
of all Cambodians living in there, so that there are Cambodians living outside of Cambodia now, but the majority of Cambodians do live in this corridor. And so that was our focus, but it does not include the data that you're talking about. For your information though, what we envision once we're successful, and that's not if we're successful, but once we are successful with this redistricting proposal, we see the need for voter education and voter registration. Because unless you exercise your vote, it's a vote against the very process of civic engagement that we're encouraging. So this is not the end of the process. This is the first step on a long journey.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough how important what you just said is. I'm with League of Women Voters in Long Beach. We went to the Cambodian New Year Festival with the voter registration table. We could not get anybody to come and actually register to vote, almost nobody. I'm sure there were many reasons. Some of them may have been that there weren't citizens or whatever, but I think the message in any of our communities is if you're entitled to vote, if you're a citizen, make sure you take that right. Make sure you do the voting. That's the most important thing. So just to emphasize.
We'll take one more, please.
You mentioned something really interesting that that your efforts transcend just the redistricting. So we actually started out concerned about only one item, which is the term limits. And then we started looking in depth into every single one of the 4 proposals by the mayor. And it really got us scared because many of us come from communities, just like the Cambodians, who came here under really traumatic conditions. In my community, hundreds of thousands of people died. There were my dad's head. They attempted to chop off my dad's head, and that's how we ended up here as political refugees looking for democracy. And then when we start looking at all of these proposals by the mayor in depth, it turns out that they're all really intertwined. So, we applaud the redistricting effort. We just want to make sure that it gets done in a proper way. And so when we read about the Ethics Commission being a part of that, and we find out that the Ethics Commission really, like all other commissions in the city, they are handpicked by the mayor. And the mayor is also proposing that the agendas for each one of the commissions be prepared in advance by the city manager, so that's a proposal and it's on the city's website. So what that means is these are supposed to be citizens' commissions. Well, the mayor really wants that to be a city hall. If the mayor selects the ethics commission, and if the mayor, if the mayor's office dictates what the agenda is, as opposed to we the people having a voice, we're becoming powerless, and we only have a couple of days before the 7th, and it's at 3 when most of us are working. So we have to take a day off, calling in sick leave or whatever it is, and we only get 36 seconds to talk about each one of the proposals. All of this really, really stinks to us. So, which is one of the reasons that it's extremely important that all of us attend, and because even though the Cambodian community has worked really hard on this effort, we don't really know what's going to happen down the line. I mean, we started out looking for term limits because the mayor came to us and told us personally, and he said, I'm with you. I want to limit corruption, and I want to set term limits to 3 terms. Well, we voted time and again to keep set term limits at 2 precisely to prevent corruption. So anyway, I apologize for taking all this time, but really read the proposals.
Now, all the questions that's been raised, it just made me more proud of my country. Because we are in that front line. We are no issue. We are in the front line. We push, and we push to where we are. So don't just be asking what kind of problem we have. Let's become a problem solver. Come, because this is not just us, this is for all. And we open our arms to everybody. So don't just sit there. Come, enjoy. Together, only together, we're going to break that ice. We're going to break that ice. Remember that. We together will be able to do it. That's all. Thank you.
He's asked me if I could translate for I came to America disabled.
chưa được như này. Vấn đề chúng ta muốn năng miền Trung mới lo cứ dương được như thế, khai chìm lo chân.
I see that for us to be a good and wholesome community is for us as community members to be engaged and build the community.
Dương và cái ban từng công lo ban lúc tại dương chùm lo chùm mình ta sẽ đăng bên đây anh mình là chùa dương đi cứ dương cứ Khmer chùa Khmer cứ dương chùa dương ở chỗ chạy đầy cứ xong.
To be a good community, we must be engaged. Look, for example, myself, I'm disabled. And I have to stay home.
I'm
an activist. And I want to help my community. We must pick an area for us to fight, and we stand united and fight it together. For example, 1997. Long Beach City didn't want Cambodian people. George Nam. Cambodian New Year, they didn't want it.
Like me, like children, like Danny Wong,
Rawls and Danny Vaughn.
We fight and we have new Cambodian New Year and here.
We fought and we got Cambodian New Year.
That's why now we have to fight for that.
Now we must stand and fight for this.
That's it.
That's it.
I do appreciate your comment, but it's not Charles, it's not Danny Wong, it's the entire community.
All the meeting.
Yes.
We fight together.
Yes. Thank you everyone for coming.
Not yet.
Not yet?
You want to wrap it up?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Please join the next meeting.
Tuesday, 3 o'clock.
Thank you for coming.
3:30, council chambers. 3 o'clock, city chambers.
3 o'clock.
August 7th.
August 7th, 3 o'clock.